Hello everybody, so this has been a little bit of a problem with my computer and my microphone in general, but let's continue the project. So as you can see, we have two folders. We have the client and then the server here. So what we want to do is we want to set up our server, right? And it's pretty simple. Basically what I did here was I took the project that we already have and I created two folders, right? So I created two folders and then I transferred this whole thing, right? Make sure you delete your node modules, then you transfer only the public, the src, and then the items over here, right? You transfer them so you can cut and paste them inside your client folder. Make sure you do that in your file explorer, right, or your Windows Explorer, right? And yeah, everything should go on smoothly. Then once you're done transferring, you can cd into your client here and then use npm install or npm I to install your dependencies again. Then once that has worked out, that has been able to work out, what you do is for your server folder that you created, you just cd into the server here, and then you basically run npm init y. Okay, so that should get us our package.json in general. And okay, so let's wait a bit for that to set up. Once as long as that is setting up, we can set up our server.js actually. So server.js. okay, looks like it's taking a little bit of time, some small time to set up, but yeah, looks like we're going to have to wait a bit. All right. Okay. Why is it taking too much time? Okay, so it's here now. Now that it's here, we can basically start our server, or we can write the functions that would help us start our server while this is being created. Okay, it's here now. All right, so now that it's here, right? Now that it's here, we want to set it up so that we can use it, right? We want to set it up so we can use it. But how do we do that? We need to install a few packages, right? So we're going to say npm I express our key package. We need nodemon so that we do not have to keep refreshing the server. We need .env. We need, okay, we are not going to use body parser. We'd use the inbuilt express.json, and then course. Then we use helmet. Then also we would use, what else? I think nodemon.env, course, helmet, and I think Morgan, yes, so that we can log out our request into the console. Yes, so now that we have these working, I'll just enter. Alright, so as it's installing, let's go here and set up everything. So over here, I would say const express should be what? Require, and then we are going to require from what? From express, basically, right? So now that we have this, we want to initialize our express app, right? So const app, that is going to be express, and then we initialize it, right? Now that we have this, we can come and set up our function. So app.listen, right? So app.listen, then we all know that we create a quick function. So basically it's basically going to take two arguments, right? We need the port number, right? So for the port number, as usual, normal 3000, and then the function that follows, basically. So this is going to be the function. Yes, now that, so over here you can see um, server is running on ports whatever, right? So over here we can actually set up a quick variable to study the port number, right? So over here we can put the port inside process.env dot port, yes, and or we can just say 3001, right? So for something like this, we'll change this to backticks. Can change this to backticks, right? So change this to a backtick. I'll change this to a backtick, and then over here would say this $sign. Then inside we passing what? HTTP, then localhost, right? I think HTTP localhost localhost 3000. Okay, it looks like it's giving us something. Oh, okay. Let me see. I think let us put this in another. We can basically put it in another variable. Or okay, no worries. Let us just pass in the ports like that. Let us pass it in straight. Okay, let's pass in the port straight to keep things simple. Then so inside we can actually set up our env. So we can come here and then say .env. Don't forget to also create your gitignore file. So gitignore. So gitignore. Then inside you can pass in your env and then node modules. Don't forget that, so that you do not commit something that doesn't belong, right? So inside here, our server.js, we've been able to set it up for it to run at a certain port. So in order for us to be able to start running, let us go to our package.json and then set up the start script. So we can clear this, and then for the start we can use node1, then server.js, right? So here we would say npm start. So this npm start is what is going to help us start running our server and see what we are working with, right? So inside our env, let us create the ports. Okay, this is weird. It has to at least change. It has to show that node1 is being used. Okay, so here, okay, let me change something quickly. Let me quickly change something here. Okay, and it didn't try refreshing, which is, so let's try npm start. Exactly, right? So once we do this, it should refresh. Alright, this is awesome. Now over here, let us pass in the ports, and then it's what, 3000. Okay, so once we go back to our server to go and change a few things, it should be back at 3000 in general. So, or save it, actually it should refresh in the server. So now that we've been able to set that up, let us import the various things and make sure that our app is using these middlewares, right? So let us first of all work with course. So course is, we are going to require course from course. Then what else? We can bring out our helmet to help us protect our HTTP request. Then helmet. Then let's bring our Morgan. Require Morgan. Right. So we have course, helmet, and Morgan. And yeah, we already have nodemon and express. I think, yeah, one more thing, .env. So .env, then require .env. Awesome. Okay, so now that we have this, for the .env, we want to come here. Because you could see that it keeps saying 3001 and not the port that we are using. That is because it's not being able to access the variable inside our env, right? So in order for us to be able to fix that, we need to initialize .env. So we'll say .env.config, and then it should work now. So see, let me save it. Let me bring this one here. Okay, let me bring it down here to see. Okay, so as you can see, it is working like we expect it to. Okay, so now that it's working, I would say app.use. Then let's use our course. So course is supposed to help us be able to perform course origin request. If you're having two websites, basically, that is front end, you're having two endpoints, that is front end and then the back end endpoint. You see, because they have their separate web addresses in general, when you're trying to communicate with them, you need something to allow that communication. So that is why we have course in there to help us enable that thing happen. Then we want to initialize our helmet too as well to protect our HTTP headers. And then for the Morgan, we want to use Morgan common, and that is basically going to help us perform our HTTP requests and then see the HTTP requests inside the console, right? Then I think that's all. So since these are the three elements that we are using, or the three dependencies that we are using for the meantime, let us make sure they are installed. Now, when it gets to the point where we are trying to connect to our database, you realize that we'd install a new package called mongoose, right? But not just so we don't keep this video long, I'm going to end it here so that you can use this to set up your server. Then in the next one, we'll connect to the database and then start creating data models for our next Discord clone steps. Thank you very much. Bye.